This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50, verse 9, and through the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, "For lo, I will raise and cause to come up against Babylon an assemble of great nations from the north country, and they shall set themselves in a array against her, for thence she shall be taken. Their arrows they shall be as a mighty expert man, and none shall return in vain." Revelations 18:2. And Revelations 18:2 through the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, "And he cried with a mighty strong voice, saying, Babylon the great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the whole of every foul spirit, and a cage, an uncleanful, hateful bird." Matthews 24:6 through the Holy Scriptures, and it reads, "And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet." Matthews 24:7. "For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdoms. And there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places." Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say peace and blessings. Salaki, I meant to say peace and blessings to the Akim that's scattered through the four corners of the globe. And I say shalom to y'all. And this is a news article from RT.com, and this was recently from RT.com, world news, alternative news around the world from RT.com. And a highlight of this news article, and it reads, "For in the news of December 25th, 2022, this was last updated 10 hours ago, and it reads, China calls U.S. a direct threat to the world." And this is a photo of Chinese Defense Ministry spokesman Tang Keifei, if I pronounce his name right, Salaki. "Washington is making up excuses and preserving its homogeny, Beijing says." Right, because you already have the tensions over there in the South China Sea. With the United States of protection of Taiwan, as China and Beijing is against of United States protecting of Taiwan, because Taiwan is a sovereign country ever since 1947 or 48, I believe. Ever since then, Taiwan been a sovereign, separate island from China of mainland. Even though you still got that one China policy over there in the South China Sea, and they still have Taiwan as part of that one China policy. United States funding military spending, funding those Patriot missile systems earlier in the middle of this year, I believe, to Taiwan. So, I just wanted to add a note to that. But I'm going to read this news article. I'm going to read it again. It says, China calls U.S. a direct threat to the world. And it says, "Washington is making up excuses to preserve its homogeny," Beijing said. Washington intentionally hypes up the China threat as an excuse to boost its military spending, all in efforts to maintain global dominance. The matter of fact, since they mentioned that, the nation's Slovakia. Fornication, if I spell that right, Slovakia. Yep, Revelations 18 and 3. And it reads, and this was mentioned from the person of China Defense Ministry. He mentioned that the United States trying to have global dominance around the world and have the other nations be influenced by it as well too. And this goes into Revelations 18 and 3. For all the nations have drunken of the wine of the wrath of her fornications, and the kings of the earth had committed fornications with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacy. Oh, that's so yeah. The United States had these other nations drunk in the wine and wrath of her fornication, and these other nations are not thrilled with the philosophies and what's being spread through the Western countries and the United States, and these other nations are not following that path no more, because these nations was drunken of the wrath of the fornication of Babylon, and they are not following that path no more. And that's why these nations turn against modern day Babylon. Let's see, I'm gonna go to verse 7. Yep, Jeremiah 51. This goes along with the Revelations 18:3. It's a precept again. Jeremiah 51 and 7. Babylon has been a golden cup in the Lord's hand that had made the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, and therefore the nations are mad, right? Because the nations are mad. They are not following the philosophies and learning the ways of the Western culture mindset of modern day Babylon. And as you see, his name, Chinese Defense Minister's spokesperson, saying, United States is trying to be the world dominance again. With this this high military spending, funding what's going on with the Ukraine war over there. They're trying to have their top dominances of the world, of the top military and the top economic power, and many other categories as well too. These nations are not following the philosophies and the ways of Western society and that Western mindset. These nations are mad, as Jeremiah 51 says. I'm going to read it again for edification's sake. This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 51, verse 7. Because this is modern day Babylon, spiritually modern day Babylon, according to the Holy Scriptures. And America is that modern day spiritually Babylon, Jeremiah 51 and 7. It's read again through the Holy Scriptures. Babylon had been a golden cup in the Lord's hand, and had made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. Right, and that's what we are seeing. These nations are mad at the daughter of Babylon, the countries like China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. and many other countries as well too. You know, they are not following the ways of modern day Babylon, just like China and Russia not too long ago. They cooperating with one another as an economic partnership, and you know they are separating from the American dollar, and they separate from the euro dollar as well too. And other countries like I believe Nigeria, India, China, Russia, Ghana, you know, all these countries, they are separating themselves from the American dollar. That shows you a clear sign that modern day Babylon is falling. As I brought that scripture out as well too. I believe it's Revelation 18:2. So that shows you a clear, direct indication sign that modern day Babylon is definitely falling. You know, and modern day Babylon trying to boast itself, trying to be the lead world dominance, as the Chinese defense minister spokesperson said. You know, they trying to be the global dominance once again. You know, and we seeing signs that modern day Babylon is falling, and these nations are not falling. They're not drunken of the wife of her fornication no more, as that was in Revelations 18. I just read, you know, they are not following the ways of modern day Babylon, you know, especially like the countries China, Russia, Iran, North Korea. You know, these nations are going against modern day Babylon, and the countries of far north as well too, going against modern day Babylon. So we seeing indications of signs of that, you know. But in the meantime, I'm gonna continue to finish reading the news article. So as those scriptures stated right there, you know, they're against, these nations are mad at the daughter of Babylon. They are not following the wife and the fornication of modern day Babylon. And I'm gonna read it again for edification's sake. China calls U.S. a threat to the world. A Chinese defense minister spokesperson, Tang Kefei, says Washington is making up excuses to preserve its homogeny. Beijing says Washington intentionally hypes up the China threat as an excuse to boost its military spending, all in the efforts to maintain global dominance, the Chinese defense minister said in a statement on Saturday after President Joe Biden signs the 2023 U.S. National Defense Authorization Act into law. It says facts have proven more than once that U.S. is the direct threat to the international order and the culprit of the regional turbulence, says the minister's spokesperson, Colonel Tang Kefei. The statement went on to claim that in pursuit of its own interests in U.S. on multiple occasions that either wage war against other countries or create conflict, causes massive casualties and displacement, right? Because the funding, especially what's going on over there, Israel, because United States and Israel, you know, they allies with one another, and United States fund all those money to Israel, you know, because you have Israel is going against the Palestinians and against the Iranians, so that do make sense. It says the statement went on to claim that in the pursuit of its own interests, the U.S. is on multiple occasions has either waged war against other countries or created conflicts causing mass. What happened over there in Afghanistan? Have a lot of soldiers deployed from out of there, and what caused in Iraq in past history, you know, and throughout the Middle East as well too. And it says, okay, had multiple occasions had either waged war and against other countries or created conflicts causing major casualties and displacement of innocent civilians. Right, just like that. I believe it was last year. It was like airstrikes of civilians and casualties were killed in the Afghanistan airstrikes of what I believe Joe Biden authorized to use on the so-called, I'm not going to say the word, start with a T word. So he taking out those oppositions of the country that's causing stir in that country. And I believe they was interviewing an Afghani man. He said they had children, and his wife and children, they was innocently killed of that authorization of airstrikes from Joe Biden, not too long ago. And he said, you know, you know, United States military, they need to pay for that. And then just like what happened over there not too long ago, I believe it was like a year ago or 2 years ago, one of the Iranian militaries of his name Hussam Assami, I forgot his name, and that was being blamed on the United States as well too. And Iran haven't forgot about that, and they are rising up against modern day Babylon as well too. So I just want to add a note to that, and I'm gonna read that again. That paragraph passage of what he was saying. The statement went on to claim that in pursuit of its own interest, the United States has on multiple occasions have either waged war against other countries or created conflicts, causing massive casualties and displacement of innocent civilians. It says that $850 billion in U.S. military budget for the fiscal year in 2023, which authorized $10 billion in security assistance and fast-tracking weapons procurement for Taiwan, is yet another in a series of provocations moves that seriously jeopardize the peace and stability in Taiwan Strait and increasing the risk of China-U.S. confrontation, which is going to happen, because we're seeing increasing signs of that, because China don't like the fact that United States is an unofficial ally of Taiwan, protecting them of the South China Sea. And we see intentions of that increasing in the South China Sea as well too. We got Washington versus Beijing, China versus the United States against Taiwan over the South China Sea. Those are prime examples. And it says the Chinese People's Liberation Army further vows to resolutely safeguard and national reunification and territorial integrity of the country, warning that Washington has no other choice but to respect China's core interests and major concerns, which I highly doubt that's going to happen. As long as they're going to continue to protect Taiwan and funding them with military deployment of ships and weaponry and military spending funding, they're going to continue to assist and help and be an unofficial ally to Taiwan against Beijing and China. So that's going to continue to happen. And it says the island of Taiwan has been self-governing since 1949, but never officially declared independence from Beijing, while China view it as part of the One China territory, which is One China policy as well too. Tensions between Beijing and Taipei have been high since the visit of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. Right, that was in August, to Taiwan in August. And it says Washington must drop its old trick of unilateral bullying that it plays with Beijing. Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi told U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken in a phone called early this week. It has not worked with China in the past, nor will it work in the future. Yep, so those tensions between China and the United States are heating up, and it's going to continue to heat up. Even if they do have some type of peace and stability dialogue with one another, it's not going to last very long, because those tensions between China and the United States is going to heat up now so more than ever, as the scriptures have stated. You know, you know, the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, is stirring up these nations to go against the daughter of Babylon. And we've seen signs of that. These nations are angry. They've been drunken off the wine of fornication and the philosophies of Babylon, and the nations are mad and angry at the daughter of Babylon. We're seeing that on an everyday basis as we see these news articles in the news, That's why you're seeing these wars and rumors of wars heating up, nations against nations, kingdom against kingdoms. And these nations are going against modern day Babylon, and they are turning their backs against modern day Babylon. They won't have anything to do with modern day Babylon. On a military situation, of a military cooperation sense or economic sense, in many other different categories as well too. These nations don't want anything to do with that Western mindset no more. They're turning their backs and they're mad against the daughter of Babylon, And they still see the daughter of Babylon being that bully country and telling what these other nations to do, Trying to tell what North Korea what to do, trying to tell what China what to do, trying to tell Russia what to do, and these other countries as well too. These nations are not following the Western mindset, and they're not following the philosophies of modern day Babylon. They're turning away from that, and they're going against the daughter of Babylon. And these nations are angry and mad at the daughter of Babylon. And that's what we're seeing. As you see right here, it says the highlight of the news article: China calls for U.S. a direct threat to the world. Right, and that's what we're seeing. These nations are against the daughter of Babylon, that causes conflict, commotions, It have caused the innocent of many lives being taken, and throughout the years, and all the way to now, So with that, I hope this sit-down lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of Yahweh Yahushua. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem HaKadosh. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching His word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and above all.